Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have the announcement of a relatively inexpensive world cruise coming up in 2025. We have a cruise line being cited by the FDA for not doing enough to prevent Legionnaire's disease of all things. And then we have also a great story if you were some of these passengers of coming across something in nature that is very, very rare to ever see. Quickly before I get started, I just wanted to thank everybody for all the well wishes. I got a ton of text messages and emails and calls and comments. I did another test last night at 9 o'clock. It was a more focused scanning of my liver, and I'm just waiting for the results now. But as I said, I'm fingers crossed it's nothing, and if it's something, that it's something easy to fix. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who for the well wishes. It really does mean a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, on with the news. MSC Cruise Lines has just announced a 116-day world cruise that begins in January 2025. You can start it from 4 different ports, the first 4 ports of call. So you can start in Rome, Genoa, Marseille, or Barcelona. And each one will end back in the original port that you left in. 116 days. They're advertising it as about $13,000 and $199 for per person. So I went in and I clicked on what it would be for a few of the different types of trips. Now, the trip does sound great. I mean, they're visiting ports: Casablanca, Rio de Janeiro, Tahiti, Chile, New Zealand, Indonesia, Singapore, Egypt. Tons and tons of port. They spend a long time in the Australia-New Zealand area. It looks like a couple weeks in that area. So yeah, it looks like a very interesting cruise and trip. If you were looking for an interior cabin for that amount of time, it would come to approximately $29,000 for a couple. If you're looking for an ocean view, about $33,000. A balcony, $37,000. And a mini suite type suite, they call it a suite. It's basically a mini suite. It's just an extended balcony area with a couch. $65,000. These are approximate prices when I first went in and just clicked on it and continued. So if you're thinking of a balcony cabin for 116 days for only $37,000, that's actually quite cheap. Most world cruises for that kind of price are in the $60s to $100,000 price range. So good on MSC to offering a world cruise at relatively affordable prices that if people wanted to jump on, they could. Now, I would do it quickly if you had any hint of doing this, because they often sell out. The 2023, they have 2 world cruises, both are sold out. So I imagine the 2025 won't be lasting long neither. We also had this great story of the cruise ship. It's a National Geographic cruise ship Endurance, and they were out in Antarctica when all of a sudden they came across a pod of fin whales. Over 1,000 whales all in the same location swimming by them in Antarctica. And I could just imagine, I passed a pod of about 100 whales before and my jaw dropped. I can only imagine 1,000 whales. The passengers on board could say, they said they heard the spouting of the whales all around the cruise ship. And the air on the cruise ship itself actually got moister because of all the spouting the whales were doing around the ship. That's how many whales there were. I can only imagine. That's a once in a lifetime for anybody, let alone the amount of people on that cruise ship. Good on them. I'm extremely jealous that I didn't get to see something like that. Can you just imagine? Like, I'm a big nature guy. Like, that's why I go to Alaska all the time. 1,000 whales all around you at the same time. Must have been some sight to behold. And then we have an FDA warning to a cruise line. Before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with all things cruising, everything from great stories like the whales to the MSC World Cruise to anything going on with your itinerary, new ships coming online, and basically just cruise blogs and cruise news. I'll keep you up to date, maybe give you some tips and tricks that might make your cruise just a little easier and maybe save you some money in the meantime. And again, doesn't cost anything, and it really does help the channel out, and I would really do appreciate it. Okay, well, the FDA back in 2021, American Cruise Lines, that's one of the largest river cruise companies in North America, had 3 passengers come down with Legionnaire's disease on their ships, and the FDA went in and did an inspection. Well, recently, the FDA sent a letter directly to the CEO of American Cruise Lines, and let me just read roughly what it said. The Food and Drug Administration said American Cruise Lines had not provided sufficient proof of changes to procedures after multiple guests were diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease. The letter went on to say the agency found evidence of Legionnaire bacteria, which causes the illness in the potable water system of the line's American Star and America Heritage cruise ships. After inspecting them periodically between December 21st and August 2022, according to the letter, the agency addressed the letter to the line's executive president. American Cruise Lines has not provided adequate documentation of new measures and verification of their effectiveness, according to the FDA. Any failure on the part of the cruise line to adequately address this matter may result in legal action without limitation, including seizure and injunction. Wow, that's pretty strong words from the Food and Drug Administration in the United States, threatening to seize a cruise ships because they're not adequately fixing a problem. Now, Legionnaire's disease, we just talked about it the other day, what happened on the NCL Prima and how they reacted right away by doing a thorough inspection and cleaning right away and contacting their guest passengers. Well, after this got public and the letter went out to the cruise line responded immediately. They immediately responded with the documentation requested by the FDA. And then they did a public announcement where American Cruise Lines took the matter very seriously in 2021 and implemented new water management policies and equipment on its ships. We have had no further cases since 2021, nor any other cases in our company's history. So they did respond to that. Now the FDA has said, yes, we've received the documentation now and we'll be looking it over, and we will make our response directly back to American Cruise Lines. But I guess American Cruise Lines just took a little too long to respond. That should have been done basically right away, especially when they were still being inspected between, up to August of 2022 and hadn't provided the documentation yet. So yeah, something very seriously. Basically it's in like compression water systems, right, is where this can contain, where like hot tubs and whirlpool baths and things like that can all, can become infected and spread Legionnaire's disease. So it's one thing to catch COVID. It's a completely different thing to catch Legionnaire's disease on a cruise line. So I'm glad that they responded, and it does look that they reacted to the system. They just took a long time letting the FDA know, hey, we actually did this. Sorry, we didn't let you know. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.